Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my office and welcome to my very hyped on life beginning of video energy. If you're new to my channel, hi, my name is Nikki. It's nice to meet you. If you're not new to my channel, then you already know that when I sit down and do talking videos, I'm always like hype level 12,000 in the beginning and then I calm down. So hopefully I'll calm down. I haven't filmed in here since I feel like honestly since Dan and I first moved to Nashville a few years ago. And that's something actually that I'm going to be talking about in this video as well when I go down kind of the list of our goals for the year. But yeah, we've been in Nashville now for 3 years and I haven't filmed in this room in so long. So I am going to be talking about I'm going to say but some of these goals involve our whole family. But my goals for the year, I have 10 things that I've written down that I would really like to move forward on and improve on this year. And some of these things, I feel like some of you guys are gonna be like, wow, welcome to adulthood, Nikki. Like, good job for finally getting on that train. But I just wanna be honest and share with you kind of what we're up to, where our head's at, and yeah. Also, please keep bearing with the lapel mic. I need to figure out a better sound situation. I feel like you talk about this all the time. And I'm hyped with the quality sounds better in the lapel, but I feel like this is weird that I'm just like don't move too much. I'm hooked up to a microphone. I don't know. Anyways, we're gonna go ahead and jump right into my first goal of the year. And this really is a family goal. And this is something that Dan and I have talked about for a long time. And it's been really difficult for us for a long list of reasons. I'm gonna go ahead and spit out the goal, but it actually also has to do with today's sponsor, which is you need a budget. If you don't have a budget, you need a budget. And they're the sponsor of this video, tying in perfectly with our top goal of the year. And that is to set a budget and really just work in the budgeting direction and get out of debt. Now I talked about this in a recent Q&A that I filmed that I didn't end up posting, and a bunch of you guys actually messaged me about that. And I will be refilming it. It's kind of a whole thing that I'll have to talk about when I refilm the Q&A, but the very long story short is we want to get completely out of debt as fast as possible. Now, we don't have insane amounts of debt, no school debt, but we still have debt on our car, on our truck, and on our home. And that's something we want to work to get out of. So when You Need a Budget reached out to us, I was just like, this feels definitely like a God thing. He's telling us you need a budget. Now, we haven't had a budget for our entire marriage, and there's a couple reasons for that. Top one, we'll just go ahead and be mean and say laziness. But really, second one I'd say is not the proper education, because Dan and I have been living on a commission-based sliding income for years now, and we've always been very unclear as to what to do with that. Now, the cool thing about You Need a Budget, and the reason why I'm so excited to have this program in our life, is because multiple people that we know and admire have spoken highly of this service. So that goes a long way with us. Also, the way that the site is set up is it's very geared towards education. So there's a lot of different videos that you can watch and just guidance through the process, which is really what Dan and I need. We need to kind of be handheld and walked through how to set up a budget properly that fits our lives. Important things you should know: You Need a Budget is an award-winning app. So besides our trusted friends and people that we know that have spoken highly of it, they've actually won legit awards, and it is supposedly a proven method that can help you gain control of your money and build wealth. And I just can't explain to you how much Dan and I have become convicted, if that's the word. That's kind of a strong word, but strongly convinced that getting out of debt and building wealth is really important. I think part of the thing for us that has also prevented us from creating a budget can sometimes be what prevents people, I think, from making dietary changes. The idea can feel very restrictive and just very restrictive. And if we don't do these exact things, then is it just all gonna fall apart or feel pointless? And what You Need a Budget does is what I have done in my life in regards to food. It helps you learn and implement skills into your daily life so that it can become a lifestyle. And that's really what we want with our money. We want better control, and we want the ability to control that money, tell it where it goes, gain wealth, all of the above, to be more natural to us. And that's just going to take time and education, just like how it did with my understanding with food. I have, at this point in my life, praise God, I have a very healthy relationship, I feel like, to food. And that is what I would really like with our money. I don't want to paint a picture like we're out of control financial messes. Although if we were, I don't want to say that'd be okay, but I just think that's common. I think a lot of people aren't taught how to budget or handle the money that they have. I'm telling you, I've seen a couple different budgeting options over the years. There's a lot of popular plans out there. And something about seeing this program, You Need a Budget, is the first one that both Dan and I have looked at, seen the stuff around it, and we're like, okay, we feel like we can do this. So this is kind of a fun fact that You Need a Budget gave me to share with you. On average, new budgeters save approximately $600 by month 2 and around $6,000 in their first year. And I really think what that speaks to, besides the effectiveness of the program within You Need a Budget, I think it also speaks to the consciousness and awareness, which I guess is the same thing, of where our money is going and the power that that can have in our real life. I think that sometimes budgeting and saving can feel like this vague thing depending on your personality type, but being able to actually have that money afterwards and have it affect your real life, the goals and the dreams that you have, and the fact that that happens to just like an average budgeter when they start budgeting is really cool. So guys, if you want to try out You Need a Budget, which I highly recommend, basically if you want to join Dan and I this year in going down the budgeting path, you can click the link below to try You Need a Budget for free for 34 days, and there is no credit card required. So that is very cool. So check that out down below. And honestly, I don't think there's ever been a better year to embark on this specific goal than now. All right, guys, so goal number 2 for us this year is to grow our homestead. Now, this actually kind of simultaneously goes along with goal number 3. I called it point, but I meant to say goal number 3, which is actually to move, but we're going to kind of combine goal 2 and 3 together a little bit, because even if we don't move, we want to continue to grow our homestead. And if we do move, then obviously we'll be setting up and starting over there. Although even that's up in the air, because we're going to visit my parents and Dan's brother and wife in the next couple of weeks, so sister-in-law, because we're trying to make the decision as to where to move. I don't want to say where those places are that we're considering right now. I'll keep you guys posted over the next few months, but things are just crazy right now, and I'm just like getting this vibe that I want to keep it on the down low where we're looking, so we'll keep it a surprise. But along those lines of growing our homestead, kind of backing up to that, for Christmas, I actually got a ton of seeds. I'm going to be sharing them probably in upcoming videos because I'm so excited about like our newfound massive seed collection, but it's actually about to get bigger because we have a neighbor that is really into homesteading as well. Like I call my house or our homestead, like our homestead in the city. She is like a legit homestead in the city. It's kind of a weird thing about the area that we live in, Nashville in general. Like there are probably hundreds of chickens just right like on our street because so many of our neighbors are also really into like this fake homesteading. Anyways, we're gonna meet up and do a seed exchange because she is so much more, like I said, of a legit homesteader than me. And so she has like tried and true, tested organic seeds, kind of like basic crops that are tried and true and tested. I went crazy over Christmas and bought tons of like non-GMO specialty seeds from Baker Creek. And I already showed her a lot of them. And she was like, these are seeds I've been like considering buying, but didn't. And so we're going to trade, and it's going to be really cool to do that. And so even if, that's the thing, here's the thing about homesteading, guys. Even if you don't have a homestead, even if you're moving potentially, even if you're, working a job that you don't love, or you're not even home that often, you can move in that direction if that's something that you want. Because at least in my opinion, I consider growing the homestead just anything you do to move forward, to create that homesteading life that you want, building up your home. And sometimes that's knowledge, sometimes that's actual like materials that you're gathering. Sometimes it's doing, work around the house, construction, planting things, learning how to cook, learning skills. So yeah, just home skills in general, but homesteading. And it'll be really interesting to see what that looks like for us this year, especially if we end up moving in the next couple of months, like I think we're going to. It's going to be interesting. So yeah, that's that. My next goal for the year is to grow my relationship with God. Now, let me explain. Really, okay, so here's the thing. I probably should have started the whole video about, I state my goal and then I'm like, let me give a disclaimer. But I probably should have started the whole video this way. The way that I do goals is a little different. Sometimes the goals are like continuations of things I've already been doing, just kind of like reevaluating my life over the last year and seeing where I want it to go the next year. So when I say grow my relationship more with God, I feel like a lot of you guys have messaged me asking me to share like Bible studies and different things that I'm going through. But the way that I learn is very strange in general. And honestly, for me, growing my relationship with the Lord kind of means two things. One, it means reading scripture more or listening to scripture more. But two, it really just means continuing to keep that desire and that curiosity alive. So something that a conclusion I've come to as of right now that could totally change down the line. But this is kind of where I sit in my life right now after growing up in church, being in a lot of Bible studies, having friends from so many different, denominations within Christianity, different walks of life, whatever. I think that growing your relationship with the Lord, and I would imagine that it pleases God just for us to want to know him. So I remember years ago feeling really concerned about when you're growing your relationship with the Lord, how do you know what you're learning is true? What is the truth, right? People have lots of different opinions. And I kind of settled in a place over the years where I was like, oh, I think that the desire alone is a good thing. I don't think, knowing the Lord more or growing closer to God necessarily means, at least for myself, that I'm going to be so sure in what I know. But it means that the appetite, wanting to know him more, just continues. And I feel like that's what it's like in day-to-day life with people in relationships. You might not know everything about someone, but I think someone feels good when you want to know, when you're searching after them, when you're checking in with them. And so this is kind of a continuation of the last year, really, and just reflecting on, I've just been enjoying my faith journey and what I've been learning, and my dog is going crazy. So the next goal I have, much like the last goal, much like all of these goals, honestly, except for the first one, because we've never had a budget. So that is a legit goal. And getting out of debt is a legit goal. But this next goal is a continuation, and that is to improve in music. To those of you that have not been on my channel for a long time, quick summary, I grew up a dancer, a full-on dancer, professional dancer. It took me around the world. Was very serious about it, and I ended up developing some pretty serious injuries. So now I deal with a lot of chronic pain that I'm working through. It's a long story, but if you don't know, that's the gist. And since moving away from dancing, which was a large part of my life growing up, I have been blessed enough to kind of be able to transfer some of that passion onto music.
I no longer want to play pretend. I know they want it all picture perfect. Yeah. There's only so much I can really do. If you don't show up, I know it's doomed.
Basically playing piano, singing. I picked up piano as an adult. a couple of years ago, and I can feel myself getting better and better. And it's so fun the more that I learn, because music is like in my soul, it's in my heart. And the frustrating part of, really, any artistic craft that you're learning, I think that when you have, I think this is for everything, you have a vision in your head or a sound in your head, and learning to acquire the skills to bring that to life out in, that's tangible is quite an ordeal, but it's so satisfying the farther that you go. And so I'm hoping this year I can finally learn how to record some music on my own, because I would love to be able to do more with music like I do with videos, like having the knowledge and ability to be able to just turn stuff around when I feel like it, because I know how the equipment works. And right now I'm like staring at all my music equipment. I'm like, I'm not that confident in how to get my piano hooked up to my computer. I can do the mic because I use that mic for voiceovers, but it's just a whole thing. So I want to continue to develop that skill, because it has been such a blessing as I have learned more with music. So the next goal, this is like a big goal. You're probably gonna be like, wait, what? Why did this end up in the middle of the list? I'm just saying, in my head, I would like to get pregnant this year. We'll see. I currently am still recovering from throwing out my back, and that definitely clouds my mind a little bit whenever I think about pregnancy in general, because you guys know, or you don't know if you're new here, for a long time I didn't even think I was going to get pregnant. Like, I didn't think I wanted to be pregnant because of the history of chronic pain that I've had. But now that I've done it and I survived, and I realize it's the biggest blessing I've ever, he is one of the biggest blessings I've ever had in my life. I'm stoked to do it again, and I'm hoping we can do it this year. I'm 33 years old, for those of you that don't know, and so I'm definitely going into kind of the later half of my fertility. And, I joked after I had Logan, I was like, I think I've changed my mind. I went from wanting like no biological children. It's a whole thing. By the way, if you want more information on this, I will link down below. I made a video called Why I Changed My Mind About Having Babies. And I talked through our whole process of thinking that we were going to adopt, going through the international adoption path with an agency, and then transferring or transitioning into domestic adoption potentially, as well as foster care. And it's a whole thing. So I'll link that down below, and you can get the full picture if you want it. But after I had Logan, I was like, I think I literally want like 5 babies. And I honestly can't say that that's fully gone away. I'm not feeling the vibe of getting pregnant right now, but I'm still pretty excited to have more babies. I'm terrified, but I'm also very excited. And so we'll see what the year brings, but I just thought I would let you guys know. You guys know all this stuff about me. That is on my radar too. So next goal along those lines is I want to get stronger and I want to get healthier. I definitely inherited this from my mom, that I'm someone that has this kind of perspective. I mean, I don't literally think like we should get stronger and healthier the older we get, because I understand there is a level of like we're kind of just decaying and aging. But there is part of me that kind of thinks that and gets excited to like just continue, to try to get stronger. And I mean, if you deal with chronic pain, it can kind of be a roller coaster. Like some days you're so like high on life and hyped on all the, improvement that you're making and all of that. And then like the next day you're sobbing because you're just like, I can't do this hope cycle anymore of thinking I'm going to get better and then falling flat on my face, not literally, but maybe. And then just being like, wow, like hope is painful, but hope also can help keep you alive and excited about things, because here's the thing, things can change in an instant. I've experienced it in different areas of my life. And so to just assume that because you've had a certain pattern in your life, it's always going to be that way, I don't think serves you. And so or serves me, or anyone for that matter. I want to get healthier this year. And recently, Dan and I acquired a machine called the Phoenix Wave. And if you watch my day in my lives, you've seen me training with my doctor in an office, like hooked up to all these electrodes. It's similar to a TENS machine, but like way better. And I got it a couple of weeks ago. I haven't really shared online at all because I've just been like so in the zone with how amazing this thing is and excited to really like learn it so I can share. So I'll be sharing more, but I'm very hopeful about what I think this therapy is going to do for me now that we have it in our home and I can literally do it 7 days a week. So don't worry. Like I said, I will be sharing because not only am I so hopeful for myself, but I'm like a little annoyed I hadn't heard of this before and excited to share it with you guys because you might be in the same boat as me. Like this might literally be able to help a lot of you. So if you can't wait, Google the Phoenix Wave, I think, or another machine that's similar to it is called the ARP Wave or the TheraStim. I think they're all the same type of machine. So yeah, along the lines of getting stronger and healthier, I'm gonna take a sip of my tea. I want to clean my diet up more. I enjoy the process of, like I said earlier, as I get older, just cleaning up my lifestyle more. And as I've gotten farther into homesteading, and I've mentioned this, it's really getting farther into homesteading. It's bled into everything. I tend to ask now where like everything comes from. And there's a phrase for this in that whole, world of things. They call it purity spiraling. Like, careful, you don't want a purity spiral, which is where you get really, like, for example, Dan and I bought wheat berries and we've been grinding them to make flour, to make sourdough. And purity spiraling in that example would be maybe like, oh, I need to use a hand grinder and I need to grow this wheat. So I need to grow the wheat, I need to grind it by hand, blah, 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 it goes on. And to some degree, it's kind of true, right? But to another degree, it's like, where is that even helpful? So I want to ask that question more and more in different areas of my life and hopefully just move more and more towards taking more of the toxic load off my body. I think that's always a good pursuit in life because we're all under somewhat of a toxic load. And it's like, how many of those things can you pull away to encourage health in your body and for your family? So there's that. And then actually, I don't even remember where else I was going. Sometimes I just start talking and pulling words together and then the thought goes out the window. But that's my next goal, continuing to clean up our diet. Also, this has been itching my head the whole time, but like my hair's a mess and I cut my finger yesterday. And so I like didn't have the hand strength to do my hair. So now my head itches, my hair's sitting weird. It's fine. We're fine. Okay, my next goal. I want to continue to learn more about childhood development. For a lot of reasons. I have a baby. I would like to have more babies. I find it fascinating. On top of that, to those of you that don't know, I haven't talked about this in a while, we, at this point in our life, plan on homeschooling our kids. The only reason we wouldn't homeschool is if they came of age and for some reason, like, we just felt like this is not the right call. But we're so like entrenched in that whole world and perspective from our own experiences that I would imagine we're going to be homeschooling our kids. I was homeschooled growing up. I loved it. I'm not trying to go off on a whole homeschool speech right now or give my perspective of how you create your own education because I think it's the most exciting, cool thing ever. And I can't wait to share more about homeschooling in the future. But that being said, now that I actually have kids, like I was into this before. I was talking to Dan the other day about how pre-YouTube, I remembered when we lived in Singapore when I was working for Universal Studios and I would like look at mommy blogs on like lesson plans for their kids and the way that they would feed their kids, the way they would divide food on their plate, like for their lunch break or whatever. And I don't know, I've always been into it, but now that I actually have a baby, I'm like, okay, I think learning is literally an everyday thing. But if you want to say that he's going to be marching towards school age, it's like he's going that direction. And so I just want to keep learning. There's some books that I have in my Audible that I downloaded that I haven't quite listened to yet, or that I haven't listened to. I listened to like a couple chapters, a couple pages, but different things on parenting and creativity and cultivating an environment for learning. And, orderliness. I don't even know. I'm blabbering off again. I don't even know where I'm going with this. So I'm going to move on to my last goal, but I think you guys get what I'm saying. On that note, it leads perfectly into the last point, which is I want to learn more about homemaking. Now, this kind of goes into the homesteading goal, but I kind of consider homemaking a little different than homesteading. Homesteading to me seems like, what you're providing and growing and creating, and homemaking to me is more like, how are you going to make this a a place of warmth that has traditions, that's comfortable for people to visit, that is streamlined, that has systems in place so that it's easy for other people to, you know, step in and help with the family or help you cook or whatever, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of what I think of with homemaking, because, you know, this last Christmas, we didn't really do anything, and part of it was Logan's awareness. A lot of our family is not even in the state, everything that's gone on this last year. But what I really thought about was, I was like, this is the last Christmas where we're gonna do this. Like, moving forward, he's gonna be older, there's gonna be more memories that are gonna be created, and I want to have like decided between Dan and I, like what kind of traditions we want to bring in. And that's what I think of when I think of homemaking. Like, you're making a home, a little landing place, a little family church, I guess you could say. And I just, yeah, I'm actually reading through a book right now. This is another book that I'm owning and haven't actually read. I'm like, I'm reading through it. I haven't really read through it at all. I've only listened to podcasts by this lady. But it's called The Life-Giving Home by Sally something. And she has a podcast that I've been listening to a little bit too that's really great. And now that I'm talking about it and remembering, I want to go listen to another episode after this. Anyways, her book is broken down into different months, and that's what I want to read through. She talks about traditions and warmth and just all of the sweet, cozy things. I just wanted to share with you guys where my head is at for this upcoming year. You know, things have been hard for a lot of people, if not everyone, this last year for a long, varying list of reasons. And I think that it's important, like I mentioned, you know, dealing with chronic pain, but even if you don't and you're just like living in this life right now dealing with a lot of the stuff that's going on, it's important to have hope. And I think that one of the ways that you instill hope into your life is by working towards a life that you want, that you can love. And so I just want to encourage you to really think about, you know, where do you see yourself? What kind of life would you like? And then think about what you can cultivate to create that. Because, you know, if we get the homestead of our dreams, quote unquote, one day, and, you know, we go towards those things, it's like that would be a thing that was built on tons of day-to-day decisions and little things that we've learned and stuff that we've picked up along the way. Roots and Refuge here on YouTube, she says, turn your waiting room into your classroom. And I just got chills saying that, because I just think that that is such a wise summary of what we should be doing, because I think a lot of people feel like they're in a waiting room right now. So don't let that waiting room get you down. Take this time and try to picture the life that you want and learn and see what you can do to just add to that picture in your head through knowledge and information. And I don't know. I'm gonna stop talking now. I'm gonna go. That's it. I will hopefully see you guys back here soon. Also, don't forget to check out You Need a Budget. The link will be down below. And like I said, it's a free 34-day trial, no credit card required. I am very excited to have this tool in our life now, and just see what we can do when we harness our money properly. So yeah, that's it, guys. I hope that you are having a good day. And if you're not, I just want to encourage you to keep swimming. And yeah, just keep swimming. And with all of that being said, I'm gonna go now. Okay, bye guys.